today I thought I would combine them to talk about how you can use consistency to help you compete with superior basketball talent. But let me define talent real quick so we're all on the same page. See, a lot of when I would watch TV, like sports debate shows on TV, the big sports shows on TV, whenever they're discussing sports, often even like former players of those sports would confuse the term talent with either ability or skill. They would use the word talent when referencing skill or ability. My thing is, that's confusing because they're not one and the same. Talent leads to skill. Talent leads to ability, but talent is very own, like on its own, separate from those two. Talent is being born with the propensity to learn that skill or that ability faster than the average or most other players. And I have always been fascinated with talent because having talent, being born with it, is like hitting the genetic lottery. It's completely out of your hands. And if you happen to be talented, it's like being born with and hitting the skill or ability lottery. And I often reference on this channel how this channel is applicable to every basketball player, but it's meant more so for those of us, definitely me included, the players who we don't consider ourselves to have the same amount of like average talent that you would find in your average basketball gymnasium or park. Because I was born with very little to no actual basketball talent. Talent itself has always been fascinating to me, like how players use it, how they choose to use it. And if they choose to maximize it, optimize it, push it to its potential and beyond. And since I don't have talent, on this channel, one of the big things I do is try to instruct people, help people to use hard work and consistency to help compete with talent. So today, let's talk about how you can use consistency to help you be more competitive with players who are more talented than you. First of all, like I was saying, and I've said in the past about talent, is nothing beats talent. If someone's just more talented than you, then they're just going to be better than you. But there are caveats, at least one, that can help you to be more competitive against those more talented players. That number one caveat is if that basketball player who is more talented than you, if he does not try, if he gets lazy, if he doesn't take you seriously, if he takes you too lightly, that basketball player now has left an opening for you to be much more competitive with them and maybe even to overcome them and beat them. For newer, younger players, that's something that you will probably encounter fairly often, which is players that are intermediate or higher, when they encounter newer, younger players, they don't take that beginner seriously because that beginner just isn't a threat to them yet on the basketball court. So when those more talented basketball players see a beginner basketball player, they think to themselves, I don't have to try as hard, play as hard, use my talent as much because this player who is obviously clearly inferior to me in terms of basketball talent, skill, ability, I don't have to try as hard because they're not nearly as much of a threat. For me, in my basketball career, I had that happen often as a beginner and even at the beginning stages of my intermediate level of my career as well. Just looking at me, you would not have expected someone who's 5'8" and like 140, 130 something to be any kind of basketball threat. So I was often not taken seriously. And because that happened to me often, I recognized that, okay, I have an opening here. These better basketball players who one of the major reasons why they're better is because they're more talented than me. They're giving me an opening to hang with them, to be able to actually compete with them because they're not taking me seriously because they know I'm not as talented of a basketball player as they are. And since they're giving me that opportunity, I want to take full advantage of it, the very best I can. This is an opportunity that I don't get all the time, but when I do get it, I want to take advantage of it, especially because probably once I become a better basketball player, a more formidable basketball player, my reputation hopefully spreads that I actually am a decent player that you have to take seriously.